Also, I would say, though, by the way, LBJ, I think that, like, you make an amazing case for LBJ.
Yes,
what
you
an
do.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
What a fun chapter.
Yeah. And he was such a... I've listened to the LBJ tapes.
Yeah.
He was so charming. He would get people not to print stories, and he just wore that Vietnam War on his sleeve. I mean, he just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's one of my favorite LBJ quotes is because LBJ really had, like, his great goal for his presidency was to build this great society, his war on poverty and all that sort of stuff. And
the Civil Rights Act,
Yeah, and he got sidetracked by the Vietnam War, and he later said of the Vietnam War, "That bitch cost me my great society."
Yeah.
Wow.
Such a great... You mentioned listening to the tapes and how, like, charming he is, and it's so interesting that so much of what he did was an act. Like, he was really whomever he needed to be, depending on the situation. And he would you got these phone calls with him on the phone with his tailor, where he's like, "I want you to make me some nice pants down where between my crotch and my butthole," which is like exact quotes of what he says on these tapes describing his pants. And then meanwhile, he can off the cuff pull out a very grand and eloquent and like poignant speech.
He was incredible with language, actually.
Yeah. Tell us about Jumbo.
But and you want to hear about his dick, but I was
I was actually yes, I mean, LBJ was famous for having a huge Johnson, but it's more what he did with that Johnson that I think is interesting.
He used to wave it at people.
He would like waggle it at senators. He peed on a Secret Service member once, like at a party. It's my prerogative.
My prerogative.
He's like, don't worry, son, it's my prerogative. And like the Secret Service wasn't worried about his prerogative. Like, that's fine. I'm still covered in pee, Mr. President.
What would you think he was I mean, when a guy I just saw Bryan Cranston in the play called All the Way, I think, or something like that. Anyway, it's about LBJ. Yeah. And he plays LBJ. Does an amazing job. But do you think that he was overall a good man, or was he a sociopath who was just willing to do what it took to get into power? I mean,
it is tough because there's accounts of him, like his reason for wanting to be vice president was that he knew that he wanted to be president, didn't have a chance to be elected president coming from Texas, being where he was, knew he wasn't going to be elected president because he didn't have the right people. Yeah. And he looked and he was like, well, X amount of presidents were assassinated and X amount of vice presidents ascended, so that is literally my best chance of being president, is becoming vice president and then my president getting assassinated. That's the only shot that I'm going to have. Wow. And then it happened. I don't think those two things are related.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let that idea hang for a while.
I like that. We should have had a pause there where...
Yeah. That's
there
good.
It is.
Just in case there are any JFK conspiracy theorists out there that are like losing steam.
Conspiracy? There are no conspiracy theorists out there. I love those guys. Man, it does make the case for it's an interesting thing.
And he's he's tied first equal with Abe Lincoln for height.
Wow, 6'4".
He was 6'4"?
Yeah.
That's a big boy.
I shouldn't be surprised by that, the guy who wrote the president's book.
Yeah. He's 6'4"? Really? That's one of the facts in chapter blah, 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 blah.
That's a big boy, man.
Yeah.
6'4", that's a big man.
Look, and he's burly, too. He's a burly Texan.
And he would use that height. He would loom over senators. Like, he would corner you if he wanted something from you and just, like, hang over you with all his height and
scary.
Back you into a corner.
When you got a guy who's that big, who's good at using his body, and he's that smart, the biggest, smartest guy in the room,
dick.
And a giant dong.
He can, like, slap people with.
Dick sounds too small. You got to say dong.
Jumbo.
Or wang or cock.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a word in Dutch, swaffelen, which means to hit something with your penis. So he could actually.
This is true.
This is actually true. It was the word of the year in Holland in 2008.
All of a sudden, Dan just faints.
Yeah, I freaked out because that's such a great factoid, but I would go home and have no idea how to Google that. Like, swaffelen is not a thing.
Well, what I like to say is that Belgians are known for their waffles, and Dutch people are known for their swaffles, and that way you'll remember it.
Oh, Belgians are known for their waffles. And
Dutch people are known for the swaffles. Yeah. So the point is that, LBJ has this fifth appendage that he, that's a real advantage.
I guess so, man. Gee whiz.
And also for psychological warfare, I mean, you got Jumbo coming at you. How do you think straight?
Well, you're the president of the United States. You're taller than everybody, and you're smarter, and you got a bigger dick. You win. You win.
Absolutely.
You know what? You ready for this? LBJ kicks the shit out of all.
That's right.
That's great. I'm so happy you got off the Gerald Ford Express train. I'm really thrilled about that.
I know I chose the most, but I
like that pick. I don't necessarily agree with it, but he can hang. He can hold himself.
Yes, he can. You're talking about he's probably, at least he's proven himself to be the best athlete among any president, and there's no question about that. High level football player. So. Yeah. You guys don't know anything about what it's like to be on the field.
I mean, that's the thing, because so much of what we're dealing is, right, there's like the Batman effect, right? Who's the craziest?
Right.
And, I mean, secretly, I think LBJ may be one of our craziest presidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Especially when you hear those stories about him, like, just in the middle of a public gathering, turning around, unzipping his fly, and peeing on the leg of a Secret Service agent. That guy is psycho. That guy in a ring will do anything.